Go ahead. What's up?
My question was, what do you think the state of America is? Because, like, all of this stuff that's happening with the killing of Charlie Kirk and the killing of the white lady who was sitting on a train by the black guy, it just seems like there is some race war trying to brew a little bit, and it seems like it is the Christians against the non-believers type of thing.
Okay. All right. So, one, that's the dangerous part about the news and our media system is that if it bleeds, it leads, right? If it bleeds, it leads. And if it's on the front page, then it's there to help push not necessarily a narrative in that form, but a wider, broader narrative, meaning that the murder of Charlie Kirk is provided in the context of political violence and the dangers of free speech. And the murder of that Ukrainian young woman is there to kind of paint the picture of the big scary black man. But it's funny because it's like, so y'all don't care about the Ukrainians. You don't want the Ukrainians to have, you don't want to fund the Ukrainians in Ukraine, but once they get here, now all of a sudden you got sympathy for them. Make it make sense, right? So it's like all of a sudden she's no longer Ukrainian. She's put forth as this white woman, and the Ukrainian part is only there to breed sympathy for those that might normally not have sympathy for her. So what do I think about it in America? Like, race war? No, because one, the only time that you have a real civil war as a race war is when people feel like they have nothing else to live for, so they might as well fight. And America has always kind of kept us in a place of, at least within the last 20 years, that you make just enough money not to be poor. You make just enough money to pay your bills and to have a few or one or two nice things. You make just enough money to have a vice that distracts you from how real or how destitute life is. But you don't have enough money to say, you know what, I really need to be involved in all these other things. So somebody that usually has money, somebody that's independently wealthy, usually has the time, the freedom of their time to be involved in politics. But if you're working 2-3 jobs, you really don't have time to be involved in politics. So the stuff with Charlie Kirk, people are like, oh, this is gonna start a race war. Let's do numbers. Let's do the real numbers. Charlie Kirk has been in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the last few years. Yet you haven't really heard of when he's gotten assaulted, and it was only one person that had the gall to actually do something to him. And unfortunately, he was murdered, right? Unfortunately, this person chose this. So it was one person out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people watching that were in the crowds, out of all the crowds that he's done, that actually did something. So that lets you know that it's at least 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000 people that actually have the wherewithal and the actual gall to do something about anything. They get mad enough, they got down where they were mad at. They were willing to do something about it. Most of America is either too broke, too distracted, too drugged out, too cowardly to really do anything and stand on their beliefs. Point blank, period. So if I say that 1 in 10,000 people actually are willing to do something about it, willing to get up off their behinds and do something about it, whether it be violence, whether it be any kind of activism. Well, there's 400 million people in America, so if 1 in 10,000, that means that there's probably 40,000 people. Since we got 400 million people and 1 in 10,000 people are about that action like that man, that lets you know that there's only about, what I said, 40,000 people? 40,000 people out of 400 million that are about that action. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried in the least bit about that. This is a continuous change that's going on in America with what Trump is doing in deploying the National Guard. He already lost in Newsom v. Trump, where the court said that he violated the Posse Act, which means that The military cannot be utilized for domestic law enforcement unless there's a state of emergency or it's been enacted by Congress. So you're going to continue to see things like that in America. I just don't, for me, it doesn't change my day. Is it a scary time to be living in America? Yes, in the sense of it's a scary time to live in America and you're not positioning yourself for what's to come in the future. Financial crisis is coming in the future. What are you doing right now to limit your expenses right now? You're in a place, you know what I'm saying? That's how influential I am. People want to know what I'm talking about. If you're not in a place where you got 3 months of expenses saved up, if you haven't gone through and done your budget, I need to go and redo my budget because money's just been going. Those are the things that we as Americans really need to be focused on, because at the end of the day, money rules the world. And it has taken some time for me to really be able to understand that money rules the world, and there's a lot of evil in this world. There's a lot of evil in this world. It's interesting because everybody else can identify evil except within themselves. Or you can demonize people, and then when you find yourself in the same position, you find yourself acting in the same manner as the people that you demonized. That's the thing. We're looking at American hypocrisy on full display right now. American hypocrisy on full display. We're looking at black folks who are talking about, George Floyd and what goes on with black folks and things like that. And yet we watch this man get killed. And we would much rather say, well, look, that's what you get. Instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to take the moral high ground and I'm going to say, I hate that this happened. I hate that this happened to him. And maybe this was as a result of his words. And maybe it would cause people to rethink what they say. I ain't worried. I mean, my partners have already told me, stay strapped. There's a lot of threats to American stability right now. But once again, I always say that the greatest threats are always internal. They are never external. The only person who could bring down America are the American people. Why? Because we know the system better than anybody else. When we look at what's gone on in Iraq, Iran, all these other places, the only people who have ever been beat has been their own people. Now, they may have received help from others. They may have received outside help, but it has always been the people who have been the greatest threat. In a Donald Trump administration, if you are perceived to be anti-American, if you are perceived to be anti-Trump in some fashion, function, it's a dangerous place for you. And everybody thought, folks that had it good during the Biden administration never thought about if the pendulum would swing the other way. They were thinking that stuff was going to stay sweet, and it didn't. So that's my thoughts on it.
Okay.